thank you so much for joining us on Event Marketing Redefined.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I'm honored that you decided to put some time on your calendar. I know there's a lot going on here today and yesterday. There's so much learning, so many different talks. So tell me, is this your first Exhibitor Live?
I've been coming since 2016.
Okay.
Except for the year of COVID. And this is the only one that I actually attend, even though I am coordinator for North America. So,
really?
Yeah.
Okay. What are you really looking forward to this year at Exhibitor Live?
This year, I'm really looking into the AI programs.
Okay.
That's the biggest, newest thing coming around.
Sure.
And we need to start using it, and we need to know how to use it. So I've been focusing a lot on that and a lot on the tech, adding in to our 10 by 10 booth, getting some more interaction with our attendees, and getting more information out there without just having a table full of literature.
Sure, and that's so sustainable too, right?
Yes,
when you stop doing print and you're able to have a much more digital experience, you can do something more interactive.
Correct.
I'm assuming when you're shifting over to more of a digital component to your booth, are you able to capture more leads, right, digitally and go right into your CRM?
And that is something that I've also been working toward. We're working with a lead retrieval company that's here. We hope to employ them within the year.
Very exciting.
But I'm also learning about all the different touch points that we can use, QR codes, and other kiosks that we could use to capture leads until we can get something of our own. So there's just so much that's coming up in AI and in tech. So, need to keep up with it.
Yeah, you really do. And things are changing so fast. But the benefit to you is really going to be once you're implementing systems and processes to collect the data, then, for example, you can use tech to collect the data. Then you can use AI to analyze it. Right? Grading your leads. What's going to happen next? How can you customize or personalize the follow-up with each one of them?
Exactly.
Then you can really start to prove the impact that events have on your pipeline.
We actually just started 2 years ago using ROI. I had been trying to get that into the mix for a really long time, and finally, with the backing, they started to look at that and realize the value of it, and now the programs that we're doing in 2025 are based on partly those ROI results. They're realizing that value.
Music to my ears. I love talking about this. So a lot of event marketers are facing this challenge in merging the gap, bridging the gap from what you want to do and how you can prove the value of an event through technology, through measurement of ROI, and presenting that to leadership, right? And implementing these new strategies. Sometimes you just don't know how to do that. How have you been so successful in getting your leadership and your stakeholders on board to make these changes alongside with you? And how do you get to them to see the value?
Well, fortunately, one of the earliest classes I took was with Joe Federbush. So,
I love Joe.
Yeah, so I have his ROI templates, and we expanded a little bit on those, but it did take a little while to convince the upper management of the promotional value and the cost savings.
Sure.
But they have really seen that, especially lately with the cost of travel and hotels and all of that going up every year. They have seen now the value in meeting those customers and making those new leads at one event versus having to schedule all those sales calls that are costing them a lot of money.
Yes, that's very true. So you really were able to figure out what their language was, what's important to them, and start to say, hey, listen, this is going to impact what's important to you.
Exactly.
And having those conversations, getting the opportunity to have the seat at the table really starts to leverage you.
Yeah.
And they see, because we talk about this a lot. Marketing budgets, I mean, on average, 10 to 20% of marketing budgets are spent in events. That's a huge chunk of money and investment. And it's always, you know, if you're not doing it the right ways, or if you don't have the leadership that want to track it, you're kind of like aimlessly spending, or you're trying to build strategy around it, but you can't always prove the value.
And you're going to shows that really aren't producing.
Sure.
That was a big thing for us with ROI, is we realized that a lot of shows that we were going to, because salespeople said, well, we go every year, it's a great show. We're not a great show.
Yeah, it's not a great show. You might think it is, but really when we look at the data, it's not.
Yeah.
So how do you kind of approach leadership? How are you currently frameworking when you're going to each event? Do you have stages that you kind of follow, or a way that you organize yourself to execute?
Yeah, I actually am more on the organizational side than the creative side. I leave the creative to the other marketing people. But I have to have a calendar and a deadline set up for everything. And I work my way backwards to set up everything that could possibly need to be done. And I follow that. You know, sometimes the show won't be on the same task deadlines that I have, but by being constantly involved with the show website and the event services website, I'm constantly updating those deadlines, and they're always in my calendar. And, you know, it's what keeps me on track.
Yeah, it's project management, right?
Yeah.
I love that you're saying, you know, you're choosing your milestones and your deadlines and working your way backwards. Because sometimes when you look at an event 6 months from now, it seems like you have half a year.
Yeah.
But really, it feels, you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't have, you don't have 6 months to plan it. You have such less time to execute it and to execute it well.
And each show is on a different timeline. I have some shows that you don't get any information until 2 months before the event.
My goodness.
And then, you know, others which you book your booth now. You're at the show and they want you to book right now. And, you know, it's good to have ROI for the last couple of years so that you can say, yes, let's go ahead and book this now to get that prime location.
So we talked a lot about AI and tech, right? The support that you have there. Are there any other components of the future of event marketing that you think is changing?
Well, I do think that there's a younger audience coming in to the shows, along with younger people coming into the event industry. And that is something I'm noticing a lot here, and a lot that are first timers here.
Okay.
So one of the things is, yes, we're going to have to look at how we reach our attendees. You know, a lot of them are social. They get a lot of their information from social media or other digital aspects. So we need to look at all of those and figure out how we can use those in comparison with our current marketing strategies to invite them in and make them feel a part of that whole journey.
So really planning ahead, knowing your audience.
Yes. Yes, definitely.
Is there anything that you're looking forward to in the future of event marketing that maybe not everybody's talking enough about?
Not really. I'm immersed in the moment a lot.
Oh, I love that.
I just really enjoy where we are kind of right now. AI is on the cusp, you know, of becoming this thing. And so I'm just really now starting to learn about that. But I hope that the future for trade shows is just more growth and more people realizing the importance of trade shows.
Yeah, face-to-face relationships.
Yes.
Nothing really beats it, right?
Yes, that is true. That is true.
So one last question. This has been a great conversation. Thank you. But one last question for you. What would be your one piece of advice or something that you would want to give a new event marketer coming into this industry?
Well, I would have to say that, you know, booking all the right shows and getting all the right equipment and, you know, having everything arrive on time and the booth set up and it's perfect. It's going to be your booth staff that's going to make or break the event. You have to make sure that they're kept involved with what's going to be the goals, what are our objectives, what is the theme. They have to be involved in every step of the way. You don't have to get their opinion, but you do need them to know what's expected of them, what the management is going to want out of this show. If they don't know what the goals are going in, they have nothing to try to track while they're there to see if they're doing a successful job. So
yeah, it's about the alignment, right? So we can't always assume that someone coming to support this, on the floor the day of, know what to say, how to say it, what the flow is going to be like, and what to do, right? So it is on you to kind of connect the dots, right? The brand story, what you're trying to accomplish, the strategic metrics that we're trying to hit, and then here's how you're going to do that. And this is what I need from you today during this shift.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that way, I think they feel more part of the booth rather than just coming in the day of, setting up the table and then, waiting for people to stop by versus feeling engaged about the message we're trying to show, what we've done to get those attendees to the booth, and that, yes, now it is their job to get them as a lead and follow up on that, but we've set them up for a winning success. And so I think they need to know that they are a part of the whole thing.
They're so integral to everything.
Yeah.
This has been an amazing conversation.
Thank you.
I'm really looking forward to seeing over the next year how you're implementing some of these new strategies. So I'd really love it if you'd stay in touch with us.
Oh, I
so
definitely
you can keep
will.
us posted.
I will.
Well, Brenda, thank you so much. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
It was
It's been
great
wonderful.
talking to you.